Now, when it comes to Rory and Mal, well, now, if you are ready to see how when you come to Drake way too much, things just get way too out of hand, and now Rory and Mal have destroyed their name, show, and reputation within a way that hasn't just been building for so long, but within a way now that they are never going to be able to recover from? Well, listen, I know a lot of people have been waiting for this downfall, so be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I just gotta put out this disclaimer before we go any further, but as when criticism of Rory and Mal tends to come out, Rory is known to sit on his computer and try to take down anything that is criticizing or calling them out. Well, as this has happened to a lot of people who have spoken out against them in the past, really make sure to leave a like so this gets out there before anything else can happen. And just with that said, we are going to be limiting how much footage we actually show of Rory and Mal clowning out on the show that has ended up ruining everything from them. But now with all of that said, well, after all the cringe dancing, crying, caping, and coping for the worst things in hip-hop, and well, with some of the stuff these guys have been doing recently, it's going well beyond that. Rory and Mal have finally been exposed within a way that is about to tear down their entire show and put them in a place where they are no longer going to be able to talk about anything anymore in the same way. As with some of the stuff that's coming out, which started with Demaris and has now reached Rory and Mal, which now from all three of the hosts looks absolutely terrible. Well, listen, once again, I just gotta say, as Rory is probably crashing out as he is trying to do some of the most damage control we have ever seen, really make sure to leave a like because this has been in the making for so long and this really isn't something that they are going to be able to walk back. And so now when it comes to Rory, Mal, and Demaris, well, what we can say is that with them getting exposed like this and with this all going down, I'm probably going to annoy them and any of their fans with this, but I guess you could say, and to quote the album that has made media members like them just lose their minds and really crumble their own reputations just from their own insecurities in Kendrick Lamar's GNX? Well, to quote the self-titled track itself from that project, well, to talk about their fall off, I guess what you could say is a quote from the self-titled track on that record in the line, "Tell 'em Kendrick did it," because with this whole thing, well, now after Rory and Mal's support and love for Drake went so far that it ended up disrespecting Kendrick Lamar, GNX, the run he has been on, and so much else around that, well, listen, these Three Stooges and Joe Budden rejects have managed to create such a mess for themselves with all of that, and what the crazy part about it really is, though, is that, well, historically, while the biggest clown out of all of them has been Mal, and he has been the one who has ruined this show just from a brand value standpoint and just from a reputation standpoint, well, more than ever, and that's just because of how much coping he has done for Drake on the mic and how clearly he has shown his biases, which for those who don't know, Mal and Drake are like best friends. Well, now aside from that and aside from all of the temper tantrums that Mal has thrown in the name of his good friend Cupcake Drake, it's really ended up being none other than Rory and also Demaris who have taken the show to the hole that it's in right now and destroyed the entire thing within a way where in the next few days it's about to get scary for the future of the entire show. And well, now what started all of this? Well, came and started from none other than Demaris, who now after the new Rory and Mal episode dropped this Monday on the 10th, well, now after this clown show of a podcast was talking about the recent Grammy nominations and specifically within this, they were talking about the rap categories and just the general battle between Kendrick and Clips in a lot of them, and saying that if GNX wins, and especially if GNX wins over Clips, well, they are going to be very mad if Kendrick wins. Well, after people called this out as it kind of represented that same soft sentiment that Joe Budden's podcast got called out for a few weeks ago, where they were just saying that Kendrick was winning too much and that somebody else should win just because he's too good and not actually because of the merit of what they are doing. Well, the entire pod was getting a lot of backlash from the Kendrick community and the culture in general. And now after trying to walk back some of their stances from all of the backlash they got, and you know, within this, just the clear conversation that was building and brewing that was showing how biased this crew really is, well, out of all people, Demaris was the one leading this effort to try and say that they aren't biased against Kendrick Lamar and that they don't hate him at all. And well, where things really got bad is after challenging people to try and find and dig something up of her saying something negative about Kendrick, well, that fell apart quick as this clip went viral right away.
My friend Kendrick Lamar fan, I said every platform possible, I hate the way Kendrick Lamar raps. I hate this I hate this voice, and I will not listen to him again because I hate this on his voice.
And you know, I just love when people get proven wrong so easily, because the fact that you tried to stand on something when, again, all it took was one clip to just take down your entire argument, well, that's just hysterical. And so just with seeing the proof that the whole Rory and Mal pod has been designed to smear and take down Kendrick Lamar ever since the beef, and there have been clear biases and just faults that they have tried to ignore within the way that they have just reported and talked about Kendrick in general, well, seemingly after being exposed and not just letting up on the ideas that they really are compromised and that they are secretly working for the Cupcake Drake, which it really does feel like that, and especially with Mal and Drake's relationship, it almost really is undeniable. Well, after all of this and not letting up on the clear faults that they were exposing for, this is where everything really got bad, and this is where everything ultimately got tragic for the future of the show, as after Rory, out of all people, doubled down on just the entire pod not being anti-Kendrick and not doing things to alienate his name and legend status from the rest of hip-hop, well, just like with Demaris, people got to looking at old posts and comments of him talking about Kendrick Lamar, where off the bat, they didn't just find comments that were clearly showing the hypocrisy and change in tone in both Rory and Mal's coverage of Kendrick Lamar and just everything that has went on in this time in general, but beyond people looking at these old posts and comments of Rory specifically talking about Kendrick Lamar, and off the bat, they were able to track not just the start of the bias and the full flip that we saw on Kendrick as the beef started and the Kendrick verse on Like That dropped, which when it comes to Rory making some of the most pro-Drake and anti-Kendrick messages out there, right alongside what he said when Drake filed the lawsuit and that he was in the right there, this is one of the worst things I have ever seen. Well, going even deeper than that, people were able to find so much more on Rory, and not just stuff about hip-hop, but with stuff that was really, really bad, and that no matter how you want to flip it, just having these words attached to you on your account is something that you can't just walk out easily of. And so I'm just going to show you some of these on screen, and with the stuff that you can see Rory saying. I mean, look at this Beyonce one. It's bad. And you know, while Rory immediately jumped on Spaces to try and address everything going on, and maybe, you know, he could have made things better here if he tried, well, he did the exact opposite of that, as he hopped on Spaces and with everybody, and I mean everybody watching, because I was in this thing and I was just looking at the amount of names in this, and from all sides of hip-hop, and from Drake fans to Kendrick fans to journalists, really so many different people were looking at what he had to say here. Well, within this, and I guess when you could say the pressure had never been higher, Rory, and then with the help of Demaris and even Mal for a little, they all joined him as they did some of their worst work ever together, which is saying a lot. And the reason why is because Rory just did not apologize once for these very demeaning and awful things that he said years ago, and instead of even trying to really get to the root of the issue or take any level of accountability, he took the route that Mal tends to take, and he must have gotten from Drake, which is to never take any sort of responsibility or ownership of anything that you do, and just constantly deny, and deflect to try and treat even these comments, which people were so clearly upset by, as just an absolute joke. And while I could tell you things for myself and try to explain them, I sat within the Spaces for way too long and watched all the crash outs, cover-ups, and just career-ending moments get all laid out to create and build a foundation that we will look back on one day as the moment where Rory and Mal fell apart forever. And I'm just going to play you some highlights of what went down, so just brace yourselves right now.
Do you have anything you want to say to that? Do you think it's... I'm trying to get the right words here, because for one, okay.
What would be the right words?
I think she means she's trying to find
being apologetic for...
I have no idea what that tweet is about or what joke was going on Twitter. I may have been retweeting that in the sense of during that time when everyone was killing dark-skinned women on Twitter, and I was the only one defending them during the Wild Wild West of Twitter, which he was around for, Rocky, which all these people in probably in this Spaces have no idea what that time was like. When I was the only one defending dark-skinned women at the time, I may have retweeted that as a joke because we were all going back and forth of like, this is insane that somebody would even think like, I don't know. I'm just thinking in my own mind. Because I know what time it is. Like this, everybody that knows me on Earth, I know. Put your thumbs down. Put everything. I'm fine with that. Everybody that knows me knows. Come on, like this. crazy.
The whole space throwing their thumbs down. This crazy.
If I apologize for something that I did not even say or mean whatsoever, that would be disingenuous. Like, I'm not about to apologize for a tweet saying I find black women unattractive. Everyone on earth knows, the people that know me know exactly the complete opposite.
Rory, at least no more weave jokes.
Like, I'm not about to apologize for that. No, I'm not apologizing for
me. That wasn't even somebody tweeted that. I said that the wrong way. That was when you used to fake a RT that somebody said something like so that they could get canceled. You made a fake RT so that the person that you RT'd would get in trouble for it's hard to explain if you weren't on Twitter back then, but when you used to put RT and then like say somebody said something and they never said. So that's what you were doing. Rory was trying to get the person that he said that to. But at the end of the day, don't waste your time explaining that, because if people weren't around when all of that was happening, they just really won't understand. Like, they just won't understand that.
I don't think that was a fake RT, Demaris. I think that before you had the repost button, you would tweet out RT and your response.
Yes, I understand that.
No, but you can also fake the RT and put it at somebody else's @ and say that they said this.
The tweet is real. That's why people are outraged. Like, you don't need to address the tweets.
That wasn't even the topic of conversation. Rory came in here with it on his own. It is, but I thought y'all was in here cracking jokes. It will become a real conversation.
I came in here to crack jokes, but
I thought this was jokes. I didn't know people.
It's not. Apparently, it's not the time.
I didn't know people was really offended by this.
I want to take my jokes back. Serious.
I would be a
hypocrite though. I wanted to joke, but
no more weed jokes.
All right.
1 second though. I'm going to say this though. I would be a full hypocrite if I didn't speak to some form of seriousness in these tweets when it comes to Rory.
Yeah, I thought y'all was in here cracking jokes, man. I didn't know this was a serious.
I came in here to joke too.
Yeah, I'm just here to joke, man. I ain't here.
Yeah. I understand that too, but everybody different. Everybody come on stage with a different motive, and they come on here and they got they words to say, so we can't stop.
Nobody had a list.
Nobody on earth that knows me thought I tweeted black women are ugly. Like, this is like ridiculous at this point. So I came in here to joke.
Yeah, I don't know what this is right here. I thought y'all was in here laughing.
We were joking at one point, and then more tweets started resurfacing. I think, Rory,
so now everybody's offended and hurt.
No, I think I'm speaking very genuinely to Rory, regardless of what our friendship is. I think that some of the tweets that are resurfacing can be hurtful, and I think you being the
hurtful
person
to
that
who,
you
though?
are. Sorry?
Hurtful to who? Who's hurt by those tweets?
Black women.
Beyonce.
Yo, y'all got to stop.
No, it's just like when Ari Lennox was, hurt by the Bernie Mac. Like,
like cut it out, man. We gotta get past this. Like, being offended is a choice. People need to understand that. Being offended is absolutely a choice. If you offended by something, you chose to be offended by that. Rory, go to sleep. Bro. Go to sleep. Rory, go to bed, man. Go to bed.
Man,
I know you ain't for no like that.
Because you got some weird tweets that we can bring up too. Right, who is that? Yeah.
Who's that? That.
Right. See y'all clowns tweets. Get off the space.
You know you got weird.
Both clowns.
Hey, yo, that's the same.
Hey.
Clowned out.
Bro, y'all are
He's
crazy.
cornball. Hey, yo, Rory, man.
Yeah, get your
you in here with some cornball.
Here, boy. Clown.
Oh, that's a tough guy right there. Gangsta.
Yeah, right. No, I ain't tough. It's the internet. It's the internet.
Hey,
Gangsta. This the internet.
Gangsta.
It's the internet, brother. I don't get tough until flight itineraries.
Oh, boy. Spell itinerary.
Hey, next question, brother.
Come up. Get dark.
Goofball.
Pull up my tweets.
Hey, Rocky, who got the next question? Stop. Get these sons as clowns, bro. Y'all beta males, bro.
Hold on.
Ain't real men. That's why when I get in these spaces and I be,
who is that?
You a goofy.
I'm trying to mute the guy. Hey, Mal, let me tell you something.
How many positive Kendrick tweets can you put up?
Bro. I really don't care for your feelings.
So L, there
That's
were
fine.
tweets that were brought up about, you know, Rory talking about Kendrick's artistry and during the beef and things like that. It really wasn't like people were digging to find things on him, you know, where it's like, oh, we're gonna pin him because he said some anti-black things. It's things that you stumble upon because the other tweets that you were making about Kendrick and the beef and the battle, we were just cooking you about it.
And so just with all of this, which like honestly, from what I was able to actually show you, I feel like it's only scratching the surface. I mean, ultimately, you can see that with the way Rory was acting and with the way his buddies were trying to save and help him out, but really only ended up deflecting overall. Well, genuinely, these are some of the worst responses you could ever get when things are heating up, and the pressure is getting all worse and coming down on you for words that you can directly be seen saying. And I mean, just seeing Rory try to dodge things the way he did, and seeing the crew that he works with just stand right alongside him, and really just see them try to act like nothing happened with as well. I mean, really for this podcast, which has turned out to be the biggest group and committee of biased losers that is out there, it's not a surprise that they ended up handling this the way they did, and that Rory especially just tried to make jokes out of this, which even just in terms of the basic laws of power, again, this is not about how you feel, but this is about how you handle issues, especially today. I mean, with Rory, I never thought I'd say this, but you genuinely have to question if his decision-making is worse than Mal's, because with him being in this space, all he ended up doing was saying more worse and more awful and off-putting stuff here, which the intent of it from his end was to play it off as a joke. But when you realize that people don't know you, are not on your side, are putting thumbs down and are just angry at you in general, and now you're giving people the ability from the words you were saying so freely to easily clip them up and have them go viral for saying things that will now make you look worse than when everything even started in the first place with these entire pieces of controversies, that make it look worse than when this controversy even started in the first place. Well, overall, this is just an absolute mess of a situation. And with Demaris and Mal just standing up for Rory and really only creating more chaos by both having their own dramatic crash outs, which especially with Demaris, I mean, she kept dragging this back to the whole Kendrick Lamar thing and only made it so much worse. Well, really, with the way they have acted, we see why this trio has been perfect for each other and why they are all falling down together, which is just off the principle that ultimately, well, these three are some of the biggest clowns we have ever seen in hip-hop media, and they all collectively don't want to own up to anything or stand on a single principle of decency. And really, in this era that we are in, where things get dragged up and it's up to a respective person on how to play these moments off and how to move from them in the right way, really, with the way that they collectively decided to move off of Rory's response and just build on it, it's like a Heart Part 6 level bad follow-up in terms of just the way that you could have tried to get over this and try to walk away from it, because all this clown show ended up doing by just not taking any accountability, standing within the mess, and, well, making jokes that, again, are getting clipped up and being put now out of context to make Rory look even more and more worse. Well, in a world where everybody can see how biased they are, and a lot of people are just fed up with all the ridiculous garbage they have been saying, which is clearly being put through an owl-shaped filter, well, now all they have done is taken the very notions and criticisms that have been put out against them and have been ruining their show and reputation ever since the Kendrick and Drake beef at the very least, and they've doubled down on all of it. And while trying to stand on what they feel like is their truth, well, all they have managed to do is really soil their reputation and show that they are just as mature as the people that they have been trying to help out in the process of taking down Kendrick Lamar, and of course none other than the Karen final boss in Drake. And so just seeing this all materialize, there are some very clear things that we can take away from this, which I mean, first off with Rory and Mal. On the funny and lighter side of things, Joe Budden was so right to drop these losers, but if we're being serious, I mean, this just does feel like the final moment where in hip-hop, after seeing this clown show act the way they have, get exposed the way they have, and then double down on their actions the way they have, after people have already had waning respect for them, and everybody's just kind of been done with the way they have been acting because they've really just ruined their reputation on the most basic of levels by so clearly presenting a compromised narrative in view of everything that they have reported on, yet they have tried to act like they are not. With Rory just showing and really standing in actions that are absolutely terrible, absolutely awful, and he should have just apologized for or tried to give a little more humility, maturity, and integrity to the situation altogether. This is something that is not going to get walking away by easily, and if I know the way that these crowds tend to work after seeing something like this, and again, we see the history that has been building up here, this isn't like a first-time offense, just in terms of the name and value of this show just losing and losing more and more. Well, listen, I don't want to put anything out there, but I just think that Rory and Mal have the potential to lose literally every single thing that they have ever built right now, and honestly, when you just see every single thing they have done from the hip-hop world and the way they have antagonized and lied on Kendrick and really been a puppet of a smear campaign, to, well, now this other stuff from Rory, which just goes to a level that is so much worse than anything else you could ever imagine, and really does look bad for not just him, but all of his team. Well, I think we can finally say that at the very least, what it's starting to look like is that the Rory and Mal era is done. And so yeah, that's all I got today. Let me know your thoughts on the downfall of Rory and Mal and really everything that's going down here, and what did you think of how everything went down with this entire moment in general, how they really provoked their own downfall by just messing with Kendrick Lamar for the last time, and what do you think this says about everything in general right now? Now listen, if you made it to this point in the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton, and I really appreciate the support and cannot thank you enough. Well, if you want to stick around with me and have fun for a little longer and see how Drake just got humiliated with some more news that has come out from hip-hop media, and it's exposed how weird and how bad of a person he is, and honestly one of the most hysterical ways that you'll ever see. Well listen, you'll have a great time if you watch this one, so really be sure to check out the suggested video.